The Mesquite Public Library consists of two libraries. We have the main library, which is located right behind this building, and we also have our North Branch Library. The main library was built in '64, renovated in '87, has 25,000 square feet. The North Branch Library, built in 1980, has just under 10,000 square feet. These are some outputs, our statistics for the last full fiscal year we have, 2015, just to indicate how busy we've been at the library. We had nearly 330,000 visitors that year to the two libraries, checked out almost 285,000 items, and answered almost 165,000 questions. I won't go through all the statistics there, but just to let you know, we were serving children. We provide volunteer opportunities, many of them for high school students who need to earn community hours, and also for retirees. Our accomplishments in the last few years, I would just say they're recent accomplishments, are we have been adding new programs. I do not have all of them listed here, but the Reading Buddies program is something that we've done to tie into the MISD reading initiative, where we have tutors, volunteer tutors, helping with beginning readers. We've tried to provide more teen programs at the library, Teen Book Club and Teen Lego Club, to add to our Teen Writing Club. And our Saturday computer classes have proved to be quite popular. We've expanded technology at the library. Our wireless printing for Wi-Fi users means that if people come into the library, they're using the free Wi-Fi, they now can print without having to put it on a flash drive and plug it in. They're totally wireless printing, which has been very convenient for library users. Mobile Circ is mainly for staff use or volunteers. It's a remote scanner use, which means if we want to do inventory, then we can go out into the library without having, again, be attached by a cord. We've added public computers to the North Branch. We've gone from 6 to 10, which has been very helpful. And we are continuing with a Rescue Texas History digitization grant projects. They're sort of ongoing so that we can digitize the Mesquite News. These newspapers, I think we've gone up through World War II, and the newspapers are now available on the portal to Texas History, which is hosted by the University of North Texas. It makes it much easier to search. We can search by subjects instead of having to go through newspapers all the time. We've also participated in community events recently, Taste and Trade, Mesquite Recycles, Breakfast with the Bunny, Christmas in the Park, Addressing Mesquite, and of course we participate in many literacy nights, health fairs, back-to-school fairs, outreach programs, and special tours that we bring into the library. Some of the challenges we have at the library department would be awareness of the services that we provide. And that's something that we would like to step up and promote more, what we are providing. A lot of people don't realize we have ebooks, e-magazines, downloadable audiobooks, and other digital products, I guess you could say, that are not what people would think of with a traditional library service. Keeping up with advances in technology is a challenge for any public library today. Aging facilities and outdated infrastructure also complicate that. We also serve a broad spectrum of customer needs, from very young children to the elderly, and any of their needs that they might want for information or recreation as far as reading and online. The demographic transformation has also proved challenging for the library. For example, our Spanish collection has grown as we have more Spanish speakers in the community. And the transition to digital content has also been a challenge because it goes much slower than might be anticipated. So instead of the digital content replacing print material, you have both. So you try and achieve a balance between those. And financial constraints are also an issue, especially with the technology, trying to keep up to date with the technology. And recently we've had quite difficulty with staff retention, which used to not be a problem, but we are working on that. The proposed budget is $2,077,688, and as you can see, the majority of that, I should say the largest section of the pie, almost 43%, goes to the main library. Administration is almost 30%, and then the North Branch is 27.5%, just about. Here's a breakdown through the types of expenses we would have. Personnel have gone up, as discussed previously, I believe, in some of the presentations. Supplies actually stayed flat, actually dropped a tiny bit. And then our contractual services did go up. Many of the contractual services are actually subscription services. A lot of the digital content is not something that is purchased. It's a subscription service. So those prices continually go up as we expand our digital content. And so those numbers have risen. So basically it's up just a little under 6.5%. The budget offers that we are asking for this year are self-serve printers for both libraries. Currently, if someone comes in and uses the printers, whether they're on their Wi-Fi or they're using the public access computers, they actually would go to the checkout desk where people are checking books out, and a staff member would take their money for their prints, print their prints, and then give them back to them. It's very labor intensive, and so personally, I've worked at half a dozen libraries. I've never seen staff involved with that. Usually there are coin-operated machines so that people can get their printouts by using a machine that's a payment machine attached to it. And that would help not only our staff, but it would reduce the lines for people who are trying to check items out and just make it more convenient, especially at the main library. It's a large, long building, and if there's an elderly person or a handicapped person who's on our computers and then has to go up to get their printouts, that is probably, I would say, 500, well, I counted it out by steps. It was 75 steps there and 75 back, and that could be quite a challenge for an elderly person. If we were to put the coin-operated printers over in the computer area, it'd be much more convenient for the users. I also was asking for televisions that it would be for communication purposes. I've seen in libraries where they have television screens at the checkout desk where people who were checking out would possibly see the city's channel up there with information about all the departments in the city and information about the community, and they could be informing themselves of that information as they're checking their books out, and also televisions for staff in the back to keep the library staff informed. We're a little isolated over in the libraries, yet people come to us many times a day wanting to know what's going on in the city, and we've discussed that if we were to have that channel running in the break rooms, that it would keep our staff more aware of what's going on in the city, and then they would be better able to inform anyone who might have a question about that. And the last tangible thing on there is the very bottom are replacement tables and chairs for the main library. Many of the tables that we were asking for are original, so they're almost 30 years old. There are 6 cafeteria tables that would be used in our meeting rooms, and those are the rooms that we rent out to the public, and they are showing signs of age. And there are also 17 library tables within the library that have almost become a safety issue. They have panels instead of legs, and as people have tried to slide them and push them around over the years, they're wobbly, and building services have repaired them many times, but at some point they will need to be replaced, hopefully with tables that have actual legs on them, be easier to carry. They're also very heavy. It takes 2 to 3 people to move one table, and so if we do try to move them around for certain events, it loosens those panels even more. The other 3 items here are databases, which are used to put information together so it's easily accessible. In the middle, I have Ancestry Library Edition. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Ancestry.com. That is the most requested database that we get at the library. Mesquite is one of the few suburbs that actually has a genealogy department, a very active genealogy department. Our Genealogy and Historical Society is very active. We have a genealogy librarian. And we are also one of the few libraries that doesn't offer Ancestry. So we would like to offer the Ancestry Library Edition to work in conjunction with the genealogy collection and department that we have. Reference USA is also a very much requested database. It's a business database that provides in-depth industry research as well as information for local businesses, salespeople, also on home buying job seekers. There's a lot of information available through Reference USA, as you might expect if it's $8,500 annually, which it is. And the last one there is JobView. That is a service that was originally provided by the Workforce Solutions. It is a database that is constantly updated to show local, regional, and national positions that people might be wanting to apply for. Some of our goals are to increase efficiency, to provide updated technology, and create lifelong learners and raise literacy levels, and continue to build a relevant collection, again balancing digital and print materials. We would like to offer some quiet areas and study rooms. That is the number one question we get at both libraries. I think the branch would be very difficult at this time to add to, but the main library, we could add some quiet areas for both computer users and for those who would like to use them as study rooms. We discussed raising awareness of the services. We would like to partner more with other agencies. And of course, we support local schools and expand our career and business resources. One of those ways would be through Reference USA. We continue to apply for grants and update our policies and procedures. Our long-term policy for the library is through 2017, so we will begin working on that. And looking at within the next 2 years, we would love to have the self-serve computer printing, increased database and digital items, expand our technology services. Many libraries now are offering Wi-Fi hotspots that can be checked out from the library, so users could take them home and actually have Wi-Fi in their home. And that's been a very popular service to help people be able to access information outside the library. Fine-free services is another service we'd like to look at removing fines for overdue materials. It not only brings a great amount of goodwill and reduces staff, but we find that more materials would come back. People are hesitant to bring back overdue materials if they have a large fine they're going to have to pay, even if they return the materials. If there is no fine, they'll bring the materials back, which would be very helpful to us. Being able to pay by credit card for any fines or lost materials would also be helpful. We are currently developing an e-card for digital resources. That would be a card to be applied for online and would only be used for digital resources. If someone wanted to come in and check out one of our books or movies or actually use the computer in the library, they'd have to get a regular library card. Another trend in libraries is to create makerspace programs. Many libraries have 3D printers or button makers or sewing machines or various equipment that people can come in and use to create. And we were all starting to offer some STEAM programs, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math programs, again, as a support of the school district. Again, the circulating mobile devices, I discussed a little bit about the hotspots. There's some others. Some libraries are providing notebooks, digital notebooks that people can check out. Study rooms and quiet rooms would be a main goal to have in our library. Within 5 years, we would probably need to be looking at total updating of the libraries. Most libraries are going with RFID technology, that's radio frequency identification. It takes the place of barcodes, and once the transition is made, it is much easier for staff and the public in general. You don't have to use a wand on every single barcode. When books are put into the book drop, they're automatically cleared, so much less staff involvement in the actual circulating of the materials. With RFID, it's much easier to do self-serve checkout stations, which we would also want to add. And our ILS software, which is the integrated library system, which is what checks the books in and out and what people use when they go onto the catalog, is rather outdated. It would need to be updated or possibly replaced with a newer type of ILS software. In the main library, eventually we would like to have a teen area so that the teens could have their own space to plug in and relax and enjoy the library facilities. Right now we have to keep them quiet most of the time, which is not something teenagers want to do. And hopefully by then we will have completed a strategic needs assessment that would look at the future of the library here in Mesquite. And hopefully we would also be able to have some new positions, maybe as other positions are not necessarily needed as we change through to technology. An outreach librarian who could go out into the community doing more programs outside of the library. A communications manager to handle promotional material and online presence. So we would like to be more involved with social media. And if we could have a dedicated custodian courier. Right now we have a part-time person who drives the books back and forth between the library, and the custodian is I believe, subcontracted. It would be nice to have someone who was familiar with our buildings, especially since they're a little older and they're a little unique, and there will be hopefully growing with technology. So our summary, my summary here is the goals that I've discussed, and the main challenges really keeping up with technology, the digital transition versus traditional services that libraries try to provide, and the meeting of broad spectrum of needs of our community. The budget offers with the printing, the television, the furniture replacement, and the databases and software. Thank you. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you. Any comments or questions? I have one real quick. Excuse me, Joanne. You
Yes.
just almost heard it all. When you talk about quiet areas and study rooms,
Yes, sir.
are we referring to remodeling interior, or are you really thinking exterior?
Interior, remodeling interior.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
I'm just always amazed about the number of people that use the library. I know if you go by in the morning before you open, there'll be 12, 15 people standing outside. They don't get unlock the door. So you provide quite a service. My wife and I take advantage of the audio books. I travel a lot through the school district doing job fairs. And year before last, went down to Austin. We were coming back, got broadsided at Georgetown, totaled the car, somebody talking on the phone. Georgetown Fire Department shows up with the jaws of life to cut my wife out of the car. We rent a car, we're ready to come home, and she said, we've got to go by the wrecking yard. And I said, why do we have to go by the wrecking yard? And she said, well, I forgot to get the audio disc out of the car.
Oh, no.
So we went by the wrecking yard, and they unlocked the gate and let us in. Now, it may have a scratch on it, and if it does, no, I did reimburse you. Thank you for what you did for everybody.
Well, thank you very much. Next time we'll get you the downloadable audio books, and that way you don't have to worry about it. We'll put them on your phone.
That's good.
How's the summer reading and the budget program going?
The summer reading is about the same. It might be a little lower this year because of the construction at North Branch. Has been the parking's been a little limited this summer due to the construction, but it's been very busy to us. If you were to tell the staff, they would not think it had been lower. And the Reading Buddies is taking off. We have some regulars that are coming on a weekly basis. I actually think the volunteers are getting as much out of it as the kids at this point. So it's been.
Do you all measure the traffic in terms of folks who come in to use the technology for job searches?
We actually just completed a survey, and I actually provided that information for you. Thursday night was the last night of our 4-day survey, the customer satisfaction survey that we do every year. And that really is the way that we measure information. And we've added some extra questions that really measure more output. If you look at in your packets there, on question number 5, we're really more for outputs, outcomes than outputs. And so we can ask of the 500 and something people that we did a survey last week, the respondents here, the percentage of respondents, what the library resources actually helped them with. And I think that was an eye-opening experience for us. I mean, we knew that we were helping people locate reading material, which was over 66%, improving their reading skills over 31%. But even to learn about other city services, over almost 26% of the people said they learned about other city services from the library. And of course, accessing online information is 47%. But as far as your specific question for jobs, we had research colleges and careers, almost 28% of the respondents said that they had done that. We had graduate, earn a degree, or pass GED, almost 15%. Pass a work-related exam, which is something that we try and provide as study materials for a work-related exam, whether it's ASVAB or commercial driver's license. ASVAB is what you would take, the exam you take to enter into the military. We try to provide those both digitally and in print. And schedule a job interview, almost 17% that had happened. And find a job, 22% said the library helped them find a job. So that's really the way that we can measure that. But we were very excited with the survey this year because we really had some good feedback, we thought. Last year and this year, the question number 6 that is on there was a new question that asked if the library system was the respondent's main source of internet access, and for both years, over 30% said that the library was their main source of internet access. So that proved that the public access computers, we have 23 at Maine, 24 if you count our genealogy, 25 if you count the brand new computer that goes with our brand new state-of-the-art scanner that the Friends of the Library just purchased for us. And then we have 10 at the branch, and so a lot of those are being used for internet access, and it's their main source of internet access.
I'll just echo Councilman Porter's comments. I'm very thankful for what y'all do. I always call Mesquite Public Library the Free College of Mesquite, and I'm proud to say I've had a library card since 1977. So,
Great, thank you, sir.
thank you.
Any other comments or questions tonight? I think every year we talk about, and it's not meant to be a negative, it's not meant to cross, you do more with less than anybody else in this city. But really, in terms of some of the initiatives that MASD is working on, and reading never stops, regardless of what all of this stuff does for us today. It's not. I realize some talks. You 20-something, Jess, I know it can talk to you, but we still read this. We still have to continue doing that. And I know there's been questions in the past about, well, why do we need a library today? We've got video, we've got computers, and yet our library usage continues to go up.
Well, a lot of recent studies show, too, that even millennials prefer to read their books in print instead of digital versions. And if they're doing serious studying for material, they would prefer to read it in print.
Absolutely. And I know the years I've been on, I think all of us, well, at least I should speak for everybody, I know that there's a big need, continued need in our city to expand our library services. And so hopefully in the near future, in the next 3 to 5 years, as you look at this, we can start looking at facilities and other things for expansion. So.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you.